This isn't gonna work well.
It's fun.
If you're thinking about getting into model railroading or you're already an addict, boy, do we have a project for you. We're gonna gut my garage and build an empire starting right now. Hey, thanks so much for joining me today on It's My Railroad, the how-to show for regular people. On this show, we celebrate regular people building their model railroads because I'm just a regular guy and I'm building a model railroad, which actually sounds like I'm celebrating me, doesn't it? Awkward. We might have to look into that. But anyway, this is really a fun community to be a part of. We share experiences, we learn from each other. It's really a good time. So if you're into that sort of thing, why not just subscribe? And then don't forget to push that little bell icon so you can be notified of future videos. All right, rail fans, let's get into this. Welcome to season 3 of It's My Railroad. That's right, season 3. Season 1, we went through and completely rebuilt my logging camp scene on the Brownsmith Railroad. It came out really cool. A lot of people enjoyed that season, as well as I. It was a lot of fun. And then in season 2, we began to put a second deck underneath the first deck of the Brownsmith Railroad when all of a sudden, without warning, we sold our house and bought another one. I had to tear it all out. Right down to nothing, which is where we're starting in season 3. We're starting with nothing, people. I've got a garage downstairs that I'm going to show you that's just filled with crap right now. It's got some racking in the way. A lot of cleanup and gutting has to happen down there. And then after that, I got to build some walls, do some lighting, do some electrical and bench work, all of us leading to our season finale, which is going to be a fully operational, automated main line. And then from there, we'll build on as time permits. So anyway, that's the deal. But the way we do things on this show is you get to see it all, baby. So we're going to start right at the very beginning by introducing you to the studio that I'm standing in right now. Then I'm going to take you downstairs and I'm going to show you that hobby room. To do that, we're going to get the old sort of portable cam out here. And right now we're just going to go through and take a look at my studio. I'm just going to walk out of frame for a little bit. As you can see, look at, there I am walking out of frame. Look, see me? There I am. All right, walking out of frame. This is the part of the studio where pretty much Cindy and I, the First Lady of Model Railroading, we do all of our live streams, and this is where I do my green screen work. Over there is the live stream table, and back there is where we put the puppies when we leave the house. And hey, look, there's my hobby stool. Isn't that exciting? Panning over here just a little bit, you can see this is Cindy's editing bay, and over here this is my editing bay, and that's just sort of the way it looks up here normally. So anyway, hey, look, I'm back in the frame. So that's what our studio looks like. I know a lot of you have questions about how we do it, where we do it, and all that. And so there it is. But now we're going to take the old point of view cam and I'm going to take you down into the hobby room and kind of show you some of the challenges. So let's just get going, shall we? Hey, welcome to the new hobby room, the future home of the Brownsmith Railroad subdivision of the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad. Anyway, it's a garage, basically. It's a third part of a 3-car garage. There's 2 spaces over there, 1 over here. Cindy, the First Lady of Model Railroading, gets that side. I and our railroad get this side. So you've seen some of this kind of stuff already in here, but I just want to show it to you in a little bit more detail. But we won't spend a lot of time out here because you're going to be spending a lot of time out here with me in the weeks and months that come. So for starters, let me just sort of take it back here a little bit and show you that I've got all of this stuff in the way. When we moved in here, we just sort of took everything and we just sort of threw it in there. And I've been sort of processing that into the house as we go. Well, that stuff, some of it will actually be in here while we're working. Some of it is going to go away. But one of the things I'm really excited about is this wall back here. This wall right here is about 20 feet long down to that garage door. That is 20 feet, people, by 2 feet deep of model railroad bench work and track work. Yay! That right there is the full length that the Brownsmith Railroad was with its single top deck. Actually, it's longer than that. That's pretty cool. I'm kind of digging that. Then right over here, you see we've got this garage door mechanism here, and then we've got the rails for the garage door that come up along there. Here's the thing, we need to keep that garage door operational for a couple of reasons. One, well, we just need to keep it operational. That's one. Okay, that was deep. The second reason is I intend to get to the back of the layout by rolling up that door. Pretty excited about being able to do that. Never been able to get to the back of my layout before. And then that is 10 feet 6 across right there, all right? So we got 20 feet down the big wall, 10 foot 6 across there. And then starting right over here, panning along this distance right to the edge of that rack. That is about 13 feet. So we have 20 feet, 10 foot 6 by 13 feet. Now let me tell you something about these racks right here. You can see this rack, and then there's a space behind that post, and then there's that rack over there. Kind of need to leave those racks sitting there for storage. Me and Mama have a lot of crap, all right? And we gotta store all that stuff. So I promised her I would leave that there. Plus above that void in between, there will be storage, and below it, there'll be storage. But what that void's gonna allow me to do is get to my staging yard from the back side. I won't often go in there unless we're doing ops or something in here with some buddies, but I'll have access to it from the back. That is pretty cool. Then finally, this right here is the only light. You love that shot, didn't you? That's the only light I have in here. So I got to put new lighting in here. I'm going to make it nice and bright with the white kind of lights that look really good on video and kind of make the model look good too. A couple just last little fingers, then I'm going to take you back up into the studio. This rack that you see back here, this whole thing back here, it's kind of rickety and it's in my freaking way. So I need to take it apart and get it out of here. Problem with that racking is I already took some apart in the middle here and down the far wall. It takes forever. This guy used every screw at Lowe's to put this thing together, whoever did, and it's still rickety, by the way. Got to get it out of here and make that happen. Once that's done, it's my intention, I'll have the lighting and have the racking gone. Right up here along the top at about the 7 foot mark, basically a copy of the benchwork up there, but that'll be shelving so I can put my railroad stuff up there. And then I'll build the second deck, which is the top deck, I guess, and then the bottom deck, so that way I work my way down, not banging my head on so many things. So anyway, that is the lay of the land down here. What I think we should do now is just go right back up into the studio and take a look at some other things. Well, okay, there you go. That was a tour of the studio, our editing stations, and of course, what's going to become the new hobby room downstairs in the garage. But with the time that we have remaining, if you'll indulge me, I'd like to just give you a little background on what I'm going to be doing with the layout and why, okay? Like many of you, I watch model railroad videos like all the time, and there are some videos that actually stick out in my mind as points of inspiration for what I want to do on the Brown-Smith Railroad with this double-deck expansion or double-deck creation we're going to do. It's no longer an expansion, it's a ground up. Anyway, to do that though, I think I'll take you over to my editing station. I'm going to boot up YouTube and just show you a couple of very quick clips to give you an idea where my head's at on some of this stuff. So let's head over there right now. Okay, so one of the first videos that I'd really like to take a look at here is made by somebody that I think a lot of you know. His name is Roy over at the UP Evanston subdivision. And look, I'll just show you a little bit of the video right here. This is him. It's a video he's got where he's talking about his helixes and why he doesn't like them. And that's all cool and all, but one of the things that Roy's inspired me to think about is he's got 2 helixes so we can have his eastbound trains always travel east, westbound trains always travel west. So if he's got empty hoppers, they don't come back empty, they go out empty, and then later on they come back up and go out empty again, and then they come back full. So I want to incorporate that kind of thing into the new expansion of the Brown-Smith Railroad. And then one of the other people that has sort of inspired this layout is Eric Hall over at imrro.com. Links to all these channels will be down in the description, by the way. In addition to a video that I'm watching right now, that's benchwork and layout height, how I do it right or wrong. which I took some inspiration from because of the decks he's using and the spacing and his reasons why. It really impacted the way I'm going to do things. I reached out to Eric, who has now become a friend of mine, and incorporated some of his thoughts into what we're going to be doing with the new layout downstairs in the garage. So Eric Hall right there, he's a wealth of experience, and he's a pretty busy guy, but he manages to squeak a little bit of help in for the regular guy every now and then. And then the next person we want to take a look at is our good friend Ron Marsh over at Ron's Trains and Things. You know, Ron's got a whole lot of great stuff on his channel, but I've watched his video about yard design and making yard. I've watched that video a number of times now, and I actually have a place on the top deck all the way on the eastern side that I'm going to be building a yard basically off what his video is describing, right down to the arrival departure track, a rip track, and all these different things. So, you know, his inspiration has been, it will be in the genetic code of the new Brown-Smith Railroad. And then the fourth one that I'll show you here is, it comes from Mike Pfeiffer over at Pfeiffer Hobby Supply. He took a Cato engine structure, engine house, and Americanized it, detailed it, and then inserted it into a scene where it just looks phenomenal. I like the look of the engine house, and I like the way the mountains come up from behind it. And so that was part of the inspiration for building or starting to build my engine loco maintenance facility. So those are some of the inspirations for things I want to do on the layout. There's obviously many more, but those sort of stick out in my head as I'm planning the layout. So let me take you back over to the studio real quick. All right, so just before I let you go, I just thought I'd give you a really quick sketch of kind of how this layout's going to come together. Now, most of you know, I try to do things in like the software that they make, and I can get close, but I just can't really seem to get my head into it. Not only that, my computer crashed, and so I basically lost the software. I haven't had a chance to reload it. So what I thought I'd do instead is get the old pencil and paper out and kind of give you a not to scale sort of overview of what I want to do. Let's start with the bottom deck. As you know, we've got like a 20-foot wall right here. It's about 10'6" coming this way, and then roughly about 13 feet. That way is kind of what we're going to end up with. I'll have a 2-foot deck here, kind of curves around, all nice and pretty. Curves around like this. But then here at the end, it's going to come back out like this. Something like that. I'm not a great artist, right? And then back over here on the 20-foot side, that doesn't quite look like 20 feet. Let's say that's 20 feet. It's going to do a very similar thing. So that would be the bottom deck. Now, here's something that's totally cool. Right back here, like this is like a backdrop. It's a separator. Back over here, we'll have staging. And then over here, we can have hidden staging, is what I'll call it. The difference being right here are trains that I'll get access to, maybe empty loads, load loads, maybe make up some trains to head out onto the layout. Back over on this side, way over here, that's where we'll have the automated trains that the computer just pulls out when I tell it to and sends back over there. As you know, my roll-up garage door is right here. Roll-up door is right there. And then I have access back from over here to be able to get to the back of the layout. Those racks sit something like this, right here. And presently the old beer fridge sits right there. Very important component down on the layout. What I'm hoping is going to happen is, let's go this way. Like I said, I've got like a little sort of ladder yard configuration there with the train coming out and going out. Something similar to this. Again, not to scale, back into the back, and then make a loop back into there. So what'll happen is this train will leave here. This is a double track main, by the way, right here. I'm just not drawing it double track, but it comes out like this, goes around here, and it goes back into this area. That's going to serve two purposes. One, I'm going to reinsert a port on this layout. Probably, I don't know, I haven't quite figured it out yet. But somewhere maybe right up in here, we'll have like a port area, some industries back here. I'm gonna, remember we talked about, or I talked about putting in like a freight terminal on the expansion for the BSR2. And I'm gonna, maybe within this loop right here, we'll put some freight in there. Like that, okay? So what that does is it gives us a yard over here to switch everything around with, a port that's an industry, a couple of industries back here, maybe more, some industry right here, just on that one leg of the bottom deck. In essence, those loads all get switched out, everything gets ready to go, a train comes, drops off a bunch of empties or stuff being exported, whatever. The switchers switch it up, and then that train will take it back over here to staging, where we'll have a couple of different choices that I'll get to in a minute. But it comes back through here, again, still hidden behind the layout. And when it emerges over here, it is starting an upward climb towards the second deck. Now keep something in mind. This right here, this dimension here is, well, I'll just put an arrow there. It's 10 feet 6 inches. This dimension here is 13 feet. By running this around and then starting an incline, and then when it gets to this location, going back in behind the backdrop, behind the layout again, and then popping out for a second trip up, by the time it gets all the way around on its third turn, it'll be turning onto the second deck. I'm pretty excited about that because right now, just on the bottom deck, I can run my train out, around, up, and up to the second deck. That's a pretty long mainline run. Now, so that's my little chicken scratching version of it. We'll set that to the side for a second. So let me draw you the top deck here real quick. Same kind of thing, and I'll try to speed through it. Same kind of thing, right? I don't know, something like that. So what happens is it pops out then on the second deck. We can wind in and around. We can come in like this. I'm going to try to see if I can get some kind of a lake kind of feature right here. So the train has to go out behind the lake and come back in and get over to here where, again, we have another reversing loop. This one will go like this, and then it comes back. Contained within that loop, there will be an arrival departure track, and then a yard in here. That's like the main yard. Everything that gets shipped up gets shipped to there. And then spotted throughout this whole upper deck up here, there'll be a lot of industries, a lot of shipping and switching kind of things happening. The one thing we got to keep in mind though is if I got somebody up here switching out this yard, there can't be somebody right below them doing another intense project. So my second yard is going to have to be off a little bit so I can have somebody sitting down here on the bottom deck and somebody sitting up there on the top deck. And then the logging camp, I haven't quite come to a conclusion yet. It's a corner section, which means the logging camp, let's say on the second deck would be here and the coal mine would be here. And then maybe, because the coal mine's got like a tail on it, maybe it comes back around and we put a version of Switch Junction here, or maybe we put it here, still kind of up in the mountains. Or maybe that's something we're going to have to do actually on the bottom deck, kind of back in this corner to make all that work. But we're going to see how that develops as we move forward. And boom, there you go, rail fans. Season 3 is underway, and I'm pretty excited about it. I hope I gave you enough to whet your appetite to come back and join me on the continuing adventures of the regular guy model railroader. Anyway, thank you so much again for joining me today on It's My Railroad. Hope to see you next week. And until that time, my name is Steve Brown. Rail on, my friends.